All right. Here we are. We're on part 2 of the Final Fantasy. The original Nintendo one. We're going to watch some more spooky videos. Next up is the Mount Dora Catacombs out of Florida. And that's from T's Storytime on YouTube. So you can check it out there if you want to watch the whole video yourself. Let's go ahead and get started with the game here. Let's see. Let's increase the respawn rate. If it's too slow, it just drives you crazy because there's so many battles. Alright, so we just beat Garland and created the bridge going over to the main island, according to the king. So I haven't really searched much. I built up a couple levels. Just got done, got the loot, which I can't remember what that's for, so it'll be exciting to see. But I think I should go up back into the cave and see if there's any good stuff up in there that I may have missed. Which has got some pretty bad guys in there. Let's take a look. And it looks like everyone is healed up. Got some heals, got a loot. Alright, so let's go ahead and head back up there. And then, yeah, so we just left off the other day. Just beat Garland. We actually beat him up pretty good, pretty quick. So that actually went pretty well. And then I got Thor, Locke, Rose, and Magoo. And I know the thief is the worst character in the entire game, so it'll be fun. We'll see if we can make him better than what everyone says. But so far he's hitting pretty weak compared to the other ones. I mean, he's hitting as hard as a white wizard, but maybe a little bit later in the game he'll get better, or maybe it'll get worse. We'll see. But it'll be fun to overcome it anyway. I just got a bunch of gold too. I should have... Actually, I did max out all my spells. I think I've got everything I can get out of that town. But there might be something in the castle. So we'll go spend a few minutes looking around in there too. Make sure we don't miss anything that's pretty awesome. I just love the sound effects in this. It's so satisfying. Even when I get hit, I can't even be that mad just because it sounds so awesome. Alright, the ruins. Not the cave, I guess, the ruins. And there's some pretty nasty monsters in here. Although this sounds like a nice place, it is not. Alright, so we got a great wolf. We'll let him take care of him. And let's see if we can spread it out. Oof. Oh, come on, Thor. I think he's angry because I didn't give him his hammer. Alright, 11 damage, not too bad. Missed. 12 damage. Come on, Locke. I don't know why everyone's missing. Alright, let's see what we can do. Alright, maybe this next round will be a little bit better. I think Rose is gonna learn how to heal one way or another. Oof, even if it's herself. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I'm assuming it's a girl. Whoa, that wolf takes some damage. I'll probably put the thief on him the next round. Let's see if we can wipe out a couple of them this round. That's right, keep missing. Man, these guys hit fast. Locke, for the love of God. You are not helping me help you. Missed. Alright. Whoops, actually, I've given up on you, Locke. I gotta get rid of that big bad wolf. Alright, nice. Whoa, so he's got at least 57 damage. Yeah, he can take. Definitely should have put Thor on that the whole time. Magoo, what you got? 11? Alright. Put you on him. Let's just Split it up 50-50. There we go. There we go. Oh, come on. Alright, Locke, it's up to you now. I gotta get some heals in. Oh my god. I wonder what your hit rate is. I wonder if they actually... Different people have different hit rates. I think I got more experience killing that than I did Garland. Let's see. Definitely should have picked up more of these. That should be good for now. Okay, here's a room. Let's see what's in here. Oh my god. It just occurred to me, I don't have a way to cure poison. So I really hope I don't get poisoned in here. Okay, that's right, miss. It's really annoying when one of your characters die, because then they all start getting level ups at different times. Which is to be expected, but I don't want to do it this early in the game. It's nice we can just watch them all level up a little bit at a time. Alright, I hope this is worth it. Here we go. A cap. Why not? We'll put that on Thor. That's a worst case scenario. He can just tank his way out and carry 3 dead bodies with him. That should still work. I don't know if there's any secrets in here. I don't think I'm leveled up enough to start pushing on every wall. Ooh, 2 chests. Definitely gonna need that. A whole cabin, huh? In a box? Alright, I think we can take out one, as long as no one gets poisoned. There you go, Locke. Come on. You should have been doing that from the beginning. Okay. I like to use my imagination, just imagine what this would actually look like if I were... What the heck, man? The Mystic Key. Well, I definitely don't have that. Whoa. That's what I'm talking about, Thor. You show him how it's done. I will get you a hammer one day, I promise. Alright, let's head down last one, and then we can sneak out of here. Oh god, these are the things I was hoping not to run into. I always wondered, like, are those teeth? Like, is it just a big mouth with teeth on top and bottom, or are they like... I would, you know, when at first glance, I'm like, it looked like 2 little eyeballs at the top. But the more I look at it, I think it's just almost like a giant amoeba with a giant mouth on top. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's cook one of them just to be safe. Oof, he hits hard. If he's hitting Thor with 8 damage, they're hitting hard. There we go, 52. And holy smokes, do they have some health. Okay, so they have about 60. I think we can take them with just by our weapons this round. If I hit them, of course. 11, not bad. 12. Locke, the White Wizard and her hammer is just demolishing you. Like, are you not even a little embarrassed? Ugh, another Mystic Key. Alright. Did I miss anything in that room? Do I dare going back into there? Yes, I do. Zombies. Why am I freaked out? I know that harm worked on them. And I know fire works on them. Let's go ahead and cook them down. Bam. That's right, Rose. You just nuke them. 72. Is that my new highest hit so far? 72 again. Nice. This instantly makes me want to get Harm 2, Harm 3 if they exist. I don't think any of these bats say anything besides Kiki. The black orb. Pardon me. The black orb glitters ominously, but nothing happens. Okay. Well, that's fine. At least it was ominous. Foreshadowing, I think. Alright, Mad Pony. Chance to strike first. I'm gonna cook you down. Actually, I haven't used lightning. I'm gonna shock you. Right on that horn of yours. 24. That's okay. 11. Missed. Just disappointed in you, Locke. Missed again. Yep. Way to really help yourself out here. Missed again. And 34. Okay. I don't know why. I remember a long time ago those Mad Ponies just freaked me out. I don't know if they just hit so hard, or maybe I came across a couple of them when I was lower level and they just stomped me, but whenever I see them, I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. Alright. Well, 3 great imps. Which I think these guys had more health than I remember. I'm gonna cook the bottom one. Okay. Or maybe they don't. 16 health. It's alright, Locke. You would have missed whether he died or not. So don't worry too much about it. You know, they get pretty decent gold though for how weak they are. Yeah, let's just go right into here. Let's see what we can find. You gotta love the nice, safe music, the nice, safe village music. Okay, I'm just kind of working my way around the outside, not seeing anything. Alright, what do you got for me? 400 years ago, the treasury was locked by our mystic key. Our ancestors gave the key to the Prince of Elfland for safekeeping. Okay, no idea where Elfland is. But when I find it, I have to remember to go back up to the ruins. But have you just got cloned? Like, you gotta have some of your ideas by yourself, man. I mean, after 400 years, at what point are you just gonna, you know, knock a hole in the wall? I mean, you can wait all 400 years? And how do you know that for sure? Alright. It's a dead end. Nothing here. I agree. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can... Okay, yeah. I remember sometimes you could go around the outside and there might be a secret. Alright, let's keep working my way around. We'll go to the inside. See if there's anything that we can actually open. Which it does not appear so. Alright. So we got the 400-year-old mystic doors. And we got some woman just walking around in an empty room in a red dress. We'll go talk to her. Okay, yeah, going around the outside is an enormous waste of time. Anything new to say? Yes, sir. I belong to the honor guard of Castle Cornelia. Okay. Oh. My sister's back safe. Thank you. Can I search these? No. I'm just robbing them. You're welcome, you're welcome. Now give me your stuff. Yes, sir. Thank you for rescuing the princess. You're very welcome. Legend says that the loot can break the evil gate. What evil gate? You gotta be more specific. Why can I not walk through this wall? Who am I talking? Is that a mistake? So you are the Light Warriors? Yes, Invisible Man? Oh god, I was hoping you were gonna go that way. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me, excuse me. Pardon me. Thank you. Oh my god. Alright, let's go see what's on the second floor. So far, this has been a big disappointment. Thank you for rescuing the princess. You're welcome. Anything going on over here? No. Alright, I guess that's that, huh? I already went up there, I talked to them. Alright. Let's begin our journey eastward. Actually, let's heal up and then begin our journey eastward. Let's go buy a little bit of more heals and stuff. I'm Aridion, the dancer. Very good. Alright. My home is Pravoka, a beautiful port city far east of here. Oh, I'm going to your home. Don't you worry. Yeah, mail, I'll bring it over for you. Alright. Let's grab a couple of heals while we're at it. Oh god, I remember this. Taking forever. Would it be a crime to let me just... How many do you want? Alright, let's get some peers. I think that will protect me from poison. Let's buy a few of them. Oh god, I just wiped my... Okay. I'm sure it was worth it. I'm sure we will use them. And hopefully I saved enough money to get some rest. And then we will head out. $30 gold? Okay. I am the Light Warriors, but I am poor. Maybe I will be remembered 400 years from now, trying to open up a door. Alright. So I'm going to begin the trip over. And let's just go ahead and pop on this video here and see, and then let's see what's going on with the Mount Dora catacombs. I've been to Mount Dora. It's a little town. I didn't spend too much time in there, but I've been there.
So remember in my West Virginia video when it turned out that there was a secret bunker underneath the Greenbrier Hotel?
I do not, because I have not seen that one yet, but I will.
Well, if you're more into Florida, I have good news for you. There's also a bunker, a secret one in fact, in Florida. This bunker sits outside of Mount Dora, Florida, a small town north of Orlando that's home to about 16,000 people. Mount Dora was founded back in the late 1800s with its name not necessarily reflecting any mountain of grand size. I mean, come on, we are in Florida after all. Rather, it reflects that the city is on a plateau just 184 feet above sea level.
I think the biggest hills in Florida are the landfills, like without exaggeration.
Early in this town's life, it would be somewhat popular for outdoor recreation, hunting, fishing, and boating, and it would eventually gain employers such as a fertilizer factory and an orange packing house following the railroad coming to town. After this, it would become more residential. Anyways, Mount Dora's bunker, so-called the Mount Dora Catacombs, dwells right underneath an orange grove outside of the city. The motivation for building these catacombs was the looming fear of nuclear war through the Cold War, and also, funny enough, a Pat Frank novel, Alas Babylon, which details a fictional post-nuclear apocalypse that actually, funny enough, takes place in a town based on Mount Dora, Florida.
How are we gonna get fallout if we don't let this whole nuclear thing happen? I mean, come on, I played the game. I think I'm prepared.
This prompted members of 25 affluent families in the Mount Dora area to bring their resources together and construct this massive below-ground bunker. This bunker is, like, really large.
Yeah, it looks massive. Let's just take a look at this real quick. There's a little cave at the very north side here. And this doesn't sound like evil music. We got a little moving broom here. Oh. Push B select. I don't think that's what it meant. Unless this is select. Unless this is... Maybe I have to do it outside. We'll give that a try. Oh, treasure chest. I'm gonna... Where is my crystal? I can't see anything without it. Who stole my crystal? Well, I'm not proud of this. But while you're blind, I am just going to shamelessly steal your treasures. Need it. Need it. I hope... Well, I mean... I'll get you your crystal, and then you can brew all you want. So, we gotta bring her a crystal. We gotta try the B and select. Real quick. Aha. The world map. I think the first time I had seen this, I was like, oh my god, this is huge. Like, I could not believe how big this game was for Nintendo. It blows my mind even today. I mean, like, this has got to be like the first real open world game of any sort of size. Don't quote me, but, you know, you pretty much do whatever you want, go wherever you want. It's awesome. After you unlock areas, I guess it was partially open world, but even open world ones, there's sometimes you're not strong enough to get through this area.
It's 5,000 square feet just in living space. There are also storage areas where food and fuel were stored, enough to keep about 100 people alive for 6 months, and they had a recreation room, a clinic, a kitchen, bathrooms with sewage systems, and even air conditioning and filtering. Also, I suppose just in case, they had 10,000 rounds of ammo and droves of boomsticks. Their thought was they'd pull the old White Spring bunker move and wait out the nuclear firestorm, only to pop their heads back up after the worst had passed, and carry on the torch rebuilding what the Soviets took from them. I suppose under the assumption that the Americans had ultimately won the war. Anyways, the Mount Dora catacombs are basically an underground hotel. But, well, as we should be aware, none of this nuclear obliteration stuff ever did come to pass, and ultimately these catacombs would be sealed up. Sadly, my impression is that these bunkers are in really poor shape. I mean, think about what would happen in a subterranean environment when you shut off a dehumidifier in Florida for 40 years.
Even if you don't shut off the dehumidifier, you're like battling mold. You just, you know, if you're not running, you know, proper air circulation constantly, you're just gonna get it. Where I work, you know, the AC goes off for a day or two, and then you're fighting mold on the walls. It's insane. Doesn't take 40 years for it to happen. But it's kind of funny too, because it makes you think of the show Preppers. You know, they're all dumping their life savings into this, well, if the world ends scenario. But I mean, you got, you know, affluent people building massive underground structures when there was a real potential for an end of the world scenario, and it still never came to pass. So, you know, like nowadays, you know, it just save your money. You know, it doesn't hurt to have a couple weeks worth of food and supplies, but any more than that, you know, what are you even doing?
You get the picture. That being said, there are a few photos of them in semi-modern day, and I can even tell you right where this bunker is. To start, these photos were taken by writer Bill Sievert and photographer Richard Sladen, who in 2006 were allowed to enter the catacombs for an article. Therefore, I can't really share these photos beyond what I would consider fair use. That being said, here are a couple of snippets. To start, here's an old diagram of the layout of the catacombs. As you can see,
I'm just imagining that old lady just going up there with a shotgun and 200 rounds of ammunition to restart the world.
of snippets. To start, here's an old diagram of the layout of the catacombs. As you can see, rooms were abundant. It's honestly a big place. Also, in classic Fallout fashion, there are cockroaches, like all over the place, especially where there were canned goods. The place is honestly just totally screwed and covered in black mold. I hope the reporters that went down there wore really high quality masks. Here's a photo, however, of a family in the catacombs back in the day when it wasn't a moldy mess. Anyways, if you want to see more of this, there are photos shared across the internet, but I can't in good faith use too many not Creative Commons photos. Sorry. Now, as for where this bunker is, I actually searched for a little while and didn't have any luck, but then I came upon a Reddit post detailing where this is. So again, this is private property, do not under any circumstances visit this spot, and certainly don't go inside. But in short, this Redditor managed to dig up the land sale deed for the land used for the catacombs.
I mean, you don't even need the FBI. If you need an answer to something, just ask the right person on Reddit. They will find anything anywhere. It's insane.
Which was a 1954 transaction. And this deeds lease had 8 coordinates for the land that makes up the bunker. In short, I'm not going to give you the coordinates per se, but what I will say is that this bunker apparently sits right underneath an orange field on the west side of Lake Gertrude. In short, there's a dang fallout shelter under this orange field, and while now it's probably inhospitable to people, it was once a massive complex where some rich decided they'd escape the apocalypse together. I don't urge you to check it out, but it's certainly a weird bit of lore.
Yeah, it's not really spooky as much as weird, It's the fact that anywhere in the United States, there could just be these random massive bunkers underground. In fact, there's people, UFO enthusiasts believe in these things called DUMBs. Not that they believe in them. I mean, they're just look at NORAD, they exist. DUMBs are deep underground military bases that usually for, government, millions of different reasons, but, people believe it's, UFO secret projects, but it could just be, fallout shelter for, potential nuclear warfare, government staging. There's a massive one, I can't remember. I want to say it's in Minnesota, but built into a mountain that houses it's like a giant refrigerated area for a main food distribution center. I mean, they could be for anything, but there could be these where, people made them even secretly or, in private and just buried somewhere with a bunch of trees. It'll be really interesting if, you buy a piece of property and next thing you know, you have a massive bunker situation going on underneath your house. Alright, so here's another one, the psychic capital of the world.
Cassadaga, while to my redneck brain sounds a little bit like Talladega, is actually a word that elicits a much more elegant scene, and in its native Seneca tongue, it means water beneath the rocks. Cassadaga, Florida, lies on the eastern coast of Florida, about 30 miles north of Orlando, and it has a peculiar reputation for hosting more people with supposed special abilities than anywhere else in the country. Now, this story about Cassadaga begins in Pike, New York in 1848, with a young boy named George Colby being born. This young boy would supposedly live a relatively normal life until about 1860 when he was dipped into a frozen Minnesota lake and subsequently, apparently, gained the ability to speak with spirits.
And do you think that was voluntary? Or do you think someone's like, look, I got this great idea. I swear this is going to make you be able to talk to ghosts.
Something that his Baptist household apparently adamantly disapproved of. I cannot imagine the whooping poor George must have gotten when he told his parents, "Hey guys, I think I can talk to the dead." Whack whack, you didn't hear anything, kid. Anyways, now George would...
There's no tolerance like religious tolerance, right?
supposedly hone this ability, giving readings and seances throughout the USA, and gaining a reputation as the so-called seer of spiritualism. Ultimately, he would attend a spiritualist camp meeting in Lilydale, New York, a place suspiciously close to one Cassadaga, New York, which is probably a thing worth mentioning. And then one fateful day in Lake Mills, Iowa, a so-called spirit guide of his, A Native American named Seneca, he said, would instruct him to travel southward to Florida to a place called Seneca, referred to as Blue Springs Landing. He would follow this advice, and so it's said by Colby, when he arrived here in 1875, it was the exact same place that was shown to him in a vision. It's said that here Colby would venture into the West Volusia woods.
I mean, how could you prove that, though? No, this spot, yeah, I saw it in a vision. What was it? Trees, mostly trees and stuff. Oh, okay, sounds good. I've been to Cassadaga. It's actually a pretty sweet town. It's one of the sleepiest towns. I mean, it's like super peaceful, super quiet, and everyone there is extremely nice. The downtown is like all of 2 blocks, so it's a small town. Oh man, but yeah, I've been there a couple of times. I really enjoy it there.
And found the community that would be Cassadaga, building a home here and being joined by fellow spiritualists. Nearly 20 years later, in December of 1894, here he founded the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp Meeting Association. Today, strangely enough, this community persists, playing host to the Cassadaga Hotel, an auditorium, a temple devoted to George Colby, a library, a healing center, a bookstore, and an educational building where performances are held. Many of these buildings were built in the 1800s or rebuilt in the early 1900s to replace aging structures. Additionally, 33 of the town's 55 homes are from at the latest the early 1900s, making this community a real treat if you're like me and you like seeing old stuff. Now let's get into what makes this place weird in modern day.
I believe that's is that the Cassadaga Hotel? It's supposed to be haunted. I haven't been there yet, except for the bottom floor, which is mostly like a gift shop. Gift shop isn't the right word. It's more like they sell spiritual trinkets and stuff like that. Super cool.
Many of the modern-day residents that call Cassadaga home are also linked to Cassadaga's occult past, being mediums and healers that operate kind of wooey businesses from their households, with even more believing in the basic tenets of spiritualism, holding that a person's soul or whatnot lives on beyond the end of their physical body, and believing that it is not just faith but a scientific fact that mediums can communicate with the dead and spirits. This system of beliefs, according to them, is simultaneously a science, religion, and philosophy. Weirdly, this was news to me, this belief also interacts with Christianity, as they do regard God and Jesus as holy figures, and they adhere to the Bible, although they don't believe the story of the devil's fall from grace for whatever reason. Today, not necessarily all of Cassadaga, but the 57-acre area that is the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp Meeting Association is a U.S. historic district, and the camp is a federal tax-exempt church that's run by a board of trustees. And of course, as I said in the introduction, it has the reputation for hosting more people that are self-proclaimed psychics than anywhere else in the country.
You walk into one of those buildings and they actually have a wall, and whoever you feel spiritually attracted to, you can request a reading from them, I guess you could say, a psychic reading. And they all specialize in different things like tarot cards or palm reading or whatever, but it's pretty. I haven't been to any other place like it, but they also have like the coolest is museum the right word? It's like a sideshow, or it's like a side of the road, old school style museum where it's hard to explain. It's like it's like forever ago, you'd just be kind of driving cross country and you'd see this little, stop here to check out this thing. And so you go check it out. And it's silly, but fun. And the people there enjoy doing it. It's super cool. And I recommend if you ever do pass through Cassadaga that you swing into their museum, and it's pretty sweet. They even got like a Ouija room and stuff like that. So much fun.
and therefore gets the title of being the psychic capital of America.
Yeah, the town's super cool. It's also, if you're in South Florida, you can kind of pass through there on your way to the Kennedy Space Center. It's somewhat on the way, but you can do both in one day, or hit one and then, make on the way back the next day, pass through Casadega and have a nice sleepy day.
So, on a bridge somewhere in Florida, there is a tree growing. But to start this conversation about the so-called Fred the Tree, we've first got to cover 7 Mile Bridge. Just bear with me through a bit of history here. I promise, the ending is pretty fun. The history of this bridge that the tree dwells on, that connects the US mainland to the Florida Keys, that in modern day we sort of take for granted, dates back to the early 1900s, when the Keys were basically completely isolated from the continental United States. This all changed, however, when one Henry M. Flagler connected the Keys to the mainland with an extension of the Florida East Coast Railway that was referred to as the Overseas Railroad. This was a monumental project and extended 128 miles down to Key West, becoming fully operational in 1912. The motivation for the construction of this railroad was economic, of course, though the cargo shipping industry through the Keys, which the railroad hoped it could benefit from, didn't live up to what they anticipated. Regardless, the railroad served some business purposes and transported people on a slow-moving train ride that would get them between Key West and Miami in 4 or 5 hours.
And now with traffic, it takes you about 4 or 5 hours to get over one bridge.
About the same amount of time it takes to do the drive in modern day. Ultimately, this railroad would serve the region until it was damaged by the 1935 Labor Day hurricane, which ripped through Florida and the Keys, and due to the less than optimal revenue the railway was generating, it would have been fiscally irresponsible to restore the railway. Thus, they sold the rail line to the state government of Florida, which, rather than rebuilding the railway, used the infrastructure to extend the existing U.S. Route 1 further south, building what is today the famous Overseas Highway and closely following the railroad's original path. It was during this construction that 7 Mile Bridge, a bridge in the Florida Keys that connects Knights Key, which is part of Marathon, Florida, with Little Duck Key in the lower Keys, was built. It's worth noting, parallel with 7 Mile Bridge, is some of the old rail line that was constructed under Flagler's direction. This old bridge that runs next to the modern 7 Mile Bridge was known as the Knights Key, Pigeon Key, Moser Channel, Passett Channel Bridge. It's kind of a mouthful, I know. Anyways, here...
That was definitely someone who was very creative. Very creative. We will be right back to that. So I made it into the town. I almost got wiped out by some ogres if you were paying attention in the top corner, but man, that was tough. I was hoping I could get a spell, but they're 400 gold. And my guy is, I don't think one spell's worth it, especially when I might be able to get a couple different things here. Do I have an iron hammer right now? Yes, I do. Okay. Let's get... It's tempting to get a short sword. I think I'll come back for that. Let's get a scimitar for now. For Thor. And let's see how that affects him. So... Oh, damage 20. 21. That was not worth it. Can anyone else use a scimitar? No. No. What about you, Locke? You probably can't. You're probably stuck using the rapier for the rest. Okay. Let's see. About him, 14. My God, that's low. Okay. What is it now? It's just one more. Let's sell, let's sell this. Why not? Let's go ahead and get another one. Why not? Every little bit helps right now, especially when I'm so low level. Every 1 point might be live or die. And let's try to get every dollar we can while we're at it. And I doubt we can afford any armor. I at least was able to go to the inn and get healed. There's the armor. This town has been invaded by pirates. Alright. Help! Okay, let me shop first. You know, and then I promise I'll save all of you. Now, I may not be a betting man, but pretty sure that's a pirate. Let's go take a look down here. Let's see if we can afford anything. Actually, so we got chain, got that. 6, 12, 18. I could get 3 of those. Let's see how many wooden shields we can get. Oh, I need to stop doing that. Okay, so you can use it. My God. Lock, what can you do? I highly doubt Mr. Magoo. No. Okay. So we got 1 wooden shield. I imagine everyone can wear gloves. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, well, at least you can put gloves on. You're not entirely useless. And so can you. And Mr. Magoo, you should be able to as well. Good. There's no point in even checking the armor, because there's nothing I can even compare it against. It's either... I'm going to give it to you, and I'm $10 short. Alright. That's the new one today, is pressing start instead of select. Let's... Like, should I go fight one bad guy? And get 1 more pair of gloves, or should I just risk it? Okay, low on heals. Now, let me go farm just a little bit more gold. And we'll pop the video on for a little bit, and then we'll flip back, kill the pirate, and call it an evening. Let's see. Whoops.
Here's where we get weird. There's a portion of these old rail lines that is only accessible by boat or helicopter. That's around mile marker 41 or 42, and it just so happens that inside of this old rail line, because its trusses were built with sand, one day when a bird took a little dookie onto the tracks, a seed happened to survive in those bird droppings. And that seed took root, digging its little roots into the sands, in the trusses, and beginning to grow. This tree, colloquially referred to as Fred the tree, is the result. Fred, you see, is an Australian pine tree, sometimes called a salt-sprayed casuarina, and as you drive down 7 Mile Bridge, you can observe this little tree literally growing out of a railroad track. Now, to the people of the Florida Keys, Fred is a symbol of hope and resilience, a sign that these people love their home, and their home is resilient enough to withstand the many extreme weather events that hit this small island community. He's also...
It's like, every summer they're getting hit with the hurricane lately, is what it feels like. I mean, I've been through 2 of them since I've been here, and one of them was a direct hit.
Also kind of a famous landmark if you can't tell. There's a group of volunteers referred to as Fred's Elves, and every year they dress up Fred for Christmas. He gets lights and a solar-powered menorah even. And this tree was even in the recent Jake Gyllenhaal movie Roadhouse. And funny enough, you might be worried Fred is fleeting, that he won't survive much longer. But it seems in actuality this forest on the railroad tracks of the Keys might just be getting started. See, another small tree, a little brother for Fred, is starting to sprout up right next to him.
That's pretty crazy. It's like in Florida, I swear, if there's like 3 pieces of sand, something's gonna grow in it.
Is he a vigilante, a local, a student? Is he even human? Locals, of course, know what I'm talking about. The University of Central Florida's so-called Rat Man, a full-grown man that is from time to time seen walking around the University of Central Florida's campus in a rat costume. This creature, or cryptid, or perhaps man with superpowers, has a rat costume equipped with a tail, a rat-shaped face mask, and is often sighted near trash cans like a real.
I'm ready for the rat overlords to take over. I'm willing for them to be my master now.
Rat. Wowzers. Heck, even UCF's police know of the fabled Rat Man, and on Twitter, back when it was Twitter, acknowledged him as their crime-fighting partner, even asking if he could help them find who was spraying graffiti on campus. Apparently, some officers even gave this Rat Man an informal certificate of appreciation. Anyways, Rat Man supposedly has been known to fight crime on campus, and you can find videos of him on YouTube walking the streets of campus with a tail that I assume is his primary weapon to whip his foes. Beyond this, for defense, he has a utility belt, which I can only assume holds his ratarangs, glowing red eyes, and he even has a gas mask. In short, Ratman looks ready for anything, and the power scaling community had better be ready because I'm pretty sure he can take on Goku and Saitama at the same time. Now, I know I'm talking this superhero up a lot, and I hate to burst your bubble, but it appears that Ratman might not actually be a real vigilante roaming the campus of UCF like some say, but rather is a pet project of a local filmmaker that sort of grew out of its own britches and became an urban legend on the campus of UCF. The filmmaker that invented Ratman was Cameron Cruz, who published a mockumentary of sorts for a film class he was taking at UCF, making him into a real-life sort of superhero who would do everything from stop bike thieves to go on patrol, hunkering down near trash cans and running away when spotted at unimaginable speeds.
I was going to say, if you have one person dressing like a rat walking around and he's actually fighting crime, the bigger issue is, why is there so much crime on campus that you can just wander around and find it willy-nilly?
As part of this film, he even put up posters of the Ratman around campus, and the Ratman started to blow up a bit on social media. Students, because of this, started forming rat hunts to unmask the Ratman, and there were even people claiming to be the Ratman, one even saying that he was the Ratman on Reddit and would unmask himself in front of the student union, leading to crowds of students and police officers, for whatever reason, to show up there, though sadly the post was fake, of course. This is actually the event where police brought the informal certificate of appreciation for Ratman, playing into the absurd Ratman joke. Anyways, ultimately a proper documentary was made called Have You Seen the Ratman by one James Barry, detailing the whole phenomenon. I'll link it in the description. Watch it if you can, it's good fun. Anyways, Ratman is not a real vigilante on UCF's campus, but he has kind of become a bit of UCF folklore. Now it's only fitting that we bounce from
The horse buried among living people. That sounds like a title to like a really bad rock and roll band or something.
one underground thing to another, though this underground thing is not a bunker and it's rather a horse. Now before we get into this horse named Big Bob, let's cast ourselves back in time a little bit and remember, cars didn't always take us everywhere. Horses, you see, used to draw wagons, plow fields, and even shepherd the dead to their final resting place. This in particular was the job of Big Bob. Big Bob was a so-called cemetery horse who was born in 1877 and worked in Sanford, Florida. It's said that for 28 years, this was Bob's job, where he would shepherd the dead to their final resting place in Lakeview Cemetery. FYI, Lakeview Cemetery is now multiple cemeteries in the Sanford Municipal Cemetery Complex. That being said, I'm pretty sure it's still just labeled Lakeview Cemetery. Anyways, Bob was employed back in the day by the T.J. Miller's funeral home. Bob, it's said, was a large white horse, and it's said that he was so good at his job that he knew how to get to the cemetery without even a driver. He took his job seriously. People loved this horse, and it's said he had a kind disposition, and locals would give him apples when he wasn't busy pulling around bodies. Now, in 1913, Big Bob would be put out to pasture, retiring, so to speak. But sadly, as many of us do, he would pass away just a year into his retirement. And while this is sad, this is also where the fun and weird part of this story comes into play. See, my impression is that horses are usually buried on the farms they work at, or on the property of their owners. But this horse, given he shepherded us to our graves for decades, was paid the respect of being buried alongside us. He was buried in the cemetery he so regularly attended, Lakeview Cemetery, where he would forever rest alongside human neighbors, many of which he transported there. It seems the community around Sanford takes great pride in this horse, and at one point, some monster even decided to vandalize Big Bob's headstone. But
We literally can't have nice things. I mean, for what purpose? We didn't deserve the horse in the first place, let alone, someone's going to come along later and and vandalize just a horse's stone. That's just terrible. That stuff just makes me sick.
local monument company replaced it with the original being put on display and cleaned up in the Sanford Museum. Today, you can still visit Big Bob's grave in Lakeview Cemetery. It's just off 46A in Sanford. Also, I must tell you, while you may bring your loved one some flowers to their grave, there's a slight different tradition for Big Bob. It's said that rather than stopping by the flower shop, you should stop by the grocery store and pick him up a nice juicy apple to leave by his grave.
Oh.
The Neptune Memorial Reef is maybe a little bit tame for a weird video, but it is certainly unique, and I'd be ashamed if I didn't include at least one below water weird thing on a list in the only state where I've personally gone scuba diving. Anyways, this reef is certainly not natural. It's a man-made reef, in actuality the largest ever made. This reef is 40 feet below the surface of the ocean and is meant to be an artistic representation.
I just died fighting 4 mad ponies. I think that's why I remember hating them so much. I ran away. I'm trying to keep all the levels the same. Hopefully we can resurrect her. I thought it would have been Locke that would have been the first one that would die. $80 gold. Ugh. Did she even get all of her health? No. That was expensive. Alright.
Of the lost city of Atlantis. Also, FYI, they didn't just plop this faux Atlantis down there and call it a day. It was a heck of an ordeal. Placing it required passing regulations, for instance, proving a strong storm wouldn't destroy it. But the effort they put into making this reef was robust and worth it, as agencies ranging from the US EPA to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission have approved of this reef's construction. Here, not only can you have you or a loved one's remains cremated and deposited into this home for modern marine life, in other words, it's a mausoleum, but if you were to scuba dive and see this unique site, you'd find that it has become home to over 100 coral colonies and a diverse array of marine life, including, strangely enough, a sea urchin species that was thought to have been extinct. Beyond this, there's everything from lobsters to moray eels dwelling down there. Anyways, these days, the reef is not just a recreation destination for scuba and snorkel enthusiasts, but also everyone from scientists to those wishing to wish their buried loved ones well. You're even welcome to hop on a boat and pay this site a visit yourself if you so choose. But pay heed, you cannot fish here. Anyways, let me know if you've been to this spot. It seems pretty swell and pretty unique.
I've always wanted to go scuba diving, but I've also always been afraid to go scuba diving. And it's not the drowning thing, it's the sharks. I mean, what are you gonna do? I see them push them away, and I know the chances are so slim. But holy, like, you get one angry one, what do? You just lose an arm? It's just, my brain just will not let me do it. I go shark fishing, but I feel like when I pull them into the land, I have a little bit of an advantage over them. But in the water, if they really feel like it, I swear, you don't have a chance.
Alright, buckle up because I've got a small town cryptid tale for you that's equal parts bizarre and oddly heartwarming. Barden, Florida, a teeny tiny town with a population of just about 400 people, where everyone knows everyone, and the most exciting thing on any given day is probably a good gossip session at the local store. But there's one thing that keeps it from being just another sleepy spot on the map. This little town has its very own Sasquatch-like creature, the Barden Booger. Now, before you start thinking about something straight out of a booger-filled nose, let me stop you. The booger here...
I thought the only one was the skunk ape, which I don't know if that's going to be in this video. But I actually went to the Bigfoot Research Center out of Georgia. We're at the base of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and most of the people that work there actually lived in Florida, had some sort of skunk ape encounter or story, or heard about him, and it made them want to research the whole event, and actually moved up into the actual active research center up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I think it's called Destination Bigfoot. That's what it is. Super cool place. So much fun if you can make it there. It's in like the middle of nowhere though.
Is not your average nasal annoyance. It's named after the boogeyman, that classic figure who haunted our childhood nightmares. So yes, it's a cryptid, and it's been hanging around Barden, Florida at least since the 1940s. Now, the famous Patterson-Gimlin film featuring Bigfoot came out in 1967, but the Barden Booger, it's been making appearances in this little corner of Florida long before that, starting in the 1940s. One of the first sightings came from a woman riding her horse through the woods, who swore she saw a tall man in a raincoat. But it wasn't a raincoat. It was a creature, part man, part gorilla, covered in hair like a walking carpet. And that's how the Barden Booger first entered the local folklore. But this creature isn't the kind of cryptid that inspires big dramatic hunts, like the one for that infamous python in Peninsula, Ohio. Instead, it's more of a series of small, quirky encounters that have been built up over time. Take the 1981 story from Weekly World News, for example. A local guy named BJ Glisson claimed to see the Barden Booger in a pond making strange mumbling noises. But get this, the creature...
I gotta be honest, I see some hairy creature in the pond mumbling to himself. I'm instantly thinking it's a vagrant. Like, I don't immediately go to cryptid.
The creature had no legs, none, just a weird, legless thing splashing around, mumbling to itself. Also, it's worth noting, I find this tale sort of interesting because Midwest Bigfoot is usually seen around water, as is the booger. Make of that what you will. Anyways, the stories don't always line up perfectly. Sometimes the booger is described more like a wild man, a caveman vibe with old clothing and a lantern. Yes, I said a lantern. Who else do you know that carries a lantern around the woods? And also an American flag. Yes, that's also part of the booger's wardrobe, apparently. There's even a story from the Azalea Festival in Palatka.
It's literally just a crazy hermit living in the middle of nowhere. I mean, someone carrying an American flag, a lantern, and mumbles to himself. Why would that be a cryptid? I mean, you see that in Seattle, like, all the time, everywhere. There's like thousands of them. Probably tens of thousands.
Where the booger reportedly showed up waving a flag. And as if that wasn't strange enough, some folks also say it has a skunk ape-like quality, like an overpowering smell that can literally knock you off your feet or disorient you if you're...
Yeah, like, that sounds mean, but homeless people, I mean, come on. It's just some crazy homeless man living in the wilderness, swimming in ponds, maybe distributing swords, who knows?
Trying to shoot the booger, which occurred in one story. Now, about that lantern too, I have to say, it's a little weird. I've heard of all kinds of cryptids, but I've never heard of one that likes to stroll around with a light in hand. Some locals believe the booger isn't holding a regular lantern, but it's rather harnessing some otherworldly power that makes glowing balls of light, which, okay, that's a fun twist, I guess. It definitely fits with the Bigfoot isn't just an animal group of people. Regardless, despite all of these oddities, the locals seem to love their booger. In fact, Bud's Grocery in town sells booger-themed merchandise. Think t-shirts and hats with the booger's face on them. Some people even wear booger costumes to local events, and there are booger songs that the town jams to.
Bud knows what's going on. He's like, we have our own. He's like, I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna be headquarters, everything booger. You want booger shirt? Got it. Booger hat? Got it. You want a booger keychain? Got 3. You choose it. I got it for you.
In short, they've basically turned their local cryptid into a mascot, one that's part of their community's charm. Now, it's worth noting the booger hasn't been spotted much in recent years. Some think he's either passed away from old age or he's just taken a break or something else, but regardless, the legend lives on. And Barden seems pretty content with that. Now, if you're wondering what the booger actually is, people have their own theories. Some say it's just a Florida black bear because, hey, they're known to stand on 2 legs and they've got a bit of fur, and also they're known to migrate through Barden. Others lean towards swamp gas, which I don't know about you. I've seen a lot of swamp gas ignite, and it's never looked like Bigfoot to me, though.
Yeah, swamp gas. That's back in Project Blue Book days. Everything was swamp gas, or it was a meteorite. They call a fireball, and it's to the point where everything is swamp gas. Which swamp gas is the chances of you like randomly seeing it. It's literally when you have like decomposing minerals at the bottom of the swamp, kind of builds up a little bit of gas that comes to the surface, and something somehow ignites it and ignites the methane for that half a fraction of a second, and somehow that's going to create a walking, talking Bigfoot. Gotcha. Makes perfect sense.
Well, maybe that explains the lantern part. The most reasonable explanation in my book, maybe the booger was just some local hermit, a hairy guy who liked to live off the land and carried around a lantern. Throw in a little bit of hair and you've got yourself a cryptid story. At the end of the day, regardless whether the booger is real or fake or just a fun tale, it's clear that the folks in Barden have embraced him. They've turned their local mystery into a source of pride, something that brings the community together. So here's to the Barden Booger, a lovable and maybe slightly creepy figure who's become part of the town's quirky identity. 10 out of 10. I would visit just to see if I can catch a glimpse of the booger myself.
I would go there just to get a booger shirt from Bud. I mean, Bud sounds awesome. I think that's it for that video. I mean,
Florida, you are weirder than I anticipated, but I mean that in the best of ways. Anyways, channel news. I recognize I promised Indiana's ghost stories, and that video is indeed coming.
I lived in Indiana too for quite some time. That'll be a fun one to listen to when it comes out. All right, once again, that was T Storytime. Did a fantastic job. I already subscribed to him. You guys should too. So it's just capital T Storytime. Let's flip over and let's see if I can wipe out. Let's see if I can wipe out this pirate. I should have enough gold to pick up another pair of gloves. And I think that was about it. I'm going to risk it without really upgrading my weapons, and hopefully these guys got a lot of cash on them. Let's buy gloves. Yes. I don't think Thor had any. Okay. Thor's decked out with all of his stuff. Everyone's maxed out on their magic and health. I am Bicky the pirate, and surprised I am. And that's so bad. Hold on. I am Bicky the pirate, and surprised I am that you scurvy dogs have the nerve to face me. Mates, get those landlubbers. That's a lot of baddies. Alright. I don't know how much health they have. I bet they're weak against lightning. I don't know what Roost does, but we'll try casting it. Let's see if it works in our favor. That's right. Keep hitting Thor. Keep hitting Thor. Sounds good. Keep going. Okay. Oh, I don't have anything for health. 20 damage? Psh, got this. Especially if they're just going to keep hitting Thor over and over. I mean, even Locke, the useless character. Oh, easy to dodge. Cool. Now I know what it is. I wish I could cast on everyone. Maybe there's a roost too. Might be worth it down the road. Yeah, we're gonna hit him with lightning. And you know what? Let's each of us hit someone. Bam. Missed. That's okay, Rose. Nice job, Locke. Nice job dodging. Come on, Magoo. And we are cooking through these guys. I don't... Maybe I was way underpowered. I thought these guys were a lot harder. Let's see. Lightning does 20. Let's see how much fire does out of curiosity. I figure because they're in the water, they'd be weak against lightning. No, weak against fire because they're humanoid, I guess. 360 gold. And a level up. Heck yeah. And let's see if Rose dying affected her at all getting a level up. Did not. Alright, cool. Okay, you got me. Take my ship. I should say me ship. Take me ship. I love how he's like, alright, you beat up 9 of my guys. You can have everything that makes me a pirate. Alright. So, I think that is it for tonight. Because I do have to work in the morning. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we will go ahead, save it here, and we'll pick up. We'll find another video to watch. Maybe even the same guy, because that was really interesting. Maybe we'll watch some news. I think we'll keep this spooky theme throughout this Final Fantasy, I think. It's my favorite thing. I hope it's your guys's too. If not, you're not going to like this, but, you know, we'll mix it up sometimes. But right now, we'll just stick with the spooky stuff. All right. Thanks so much. You guys have a great night.